we are at Innovation Week 2023. It's great to be in conversation with so many people in the tech sector, doing things, making this place great, taking the technology, proving it here in Newfoundland, and exporting it around the world. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
So thanks, and happy to be here. My name is Matt Adams. I'm the CEO of NetBenefit Software. NetBenefit Software, ultimately we help move development forward. We have a software platform that'll manage data that helps usually large projects, but companies go all the way from all of their community and stakeholder and rights holder engagement right up to when they're in production, understanding all the employment they're creating through the supply chain, understand all the procurement, understand all their DEI factors, rolling that into ESG reports. But effectively, that's what we do, and I'm here at Innovation Week just soaking in some intel from the experts and the people that have done this kind of thing before.
Matt, would this be a correct way to say this, is that you've created a software package that looks at the social impact that a company is making? Is that a correct way to look at it?
Yes, that's a really good way to look at it. We haven't found a shorter word for the socioeconomic impact yet. It's a mouthful, but that's what we track, exactly.
Wow, and that's incredible. It's so vitally important, right? I mean, it's one thing to be tracking money spent and timelines on the project, but what you're talking about is the kind of stuff that really impacts the community and makes the project last for a very long time. Tell me this, where does the data come from? How are you collecting the data?
So we'll work with different types of organizations. If the project is big enough and the scope is big enough, we'll work right at the very top, right at the government level for reporting for an entire sector and an entire economy. But most often we work with at the organizational level of a corporate entity. So say you are a renewable energy company that's trying to get a new wind farm up and going. Like that's really
topical right now.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the first one to come to mind for a reason, I guess.
Sure. So what would you do with a company like that? How would you help them determine their social impact?
So projects move through phases. So let's start right away. Right away, okay, we're in the Burin Peninsula here in Newfoundland, and we are a proponent. We know it's real windy here. We want to set up some towers and maybe start to design a project. We've got to speak with the community. You got to speak with government. You got to speak with Indigenous communities, right? So we help make that really easy. No spreadsheets, no mess, just a platform to track it and keep it all in one place, and eventually it'll be important for regulatory. But as that moves forward, you start to sign agreements. Okay, let's sign lease agreements for the land. Let's sign an industrial benefit agreement with the province. Let's sign any mix of dozens of agreements, and all those agreements come with promises. So we provide you with a full area to keep them all organized, have accountability, show that you're keeping those promises for all your different stakeholders and community members. And eventually, when we get into construction, that proponent who's building that wind farm, they aren't going to build it, right? They're going to have a EPCM, right? Like a company that's really running it, like a big, huge company. They're going to subcontract a bunch of prime contractors. They're going to subcontract a bunch of subcontractors and subcontractors. And that's where you get some phenomenal companies that are owned locally. You get companies that are growing, you get Indigenous-owned companies, you get women-led companies, and we take all that data and we bundle it up so you can examine the exact impact you're making and find ways to even increase that in some cases.
I tell you, that's powerful. What you just described there is powerful not only in the boardroom for a decision-making tool and certainly helping the corporation guide itself in a direction. It's important there, but it's important really with boots on the ground in the communities, because you're driving corporations to make the right decision here and engage the local population.
Correct. When your local content goes up by 1% in employment, people seem to forget that might amount to an extra 500 jobs and an extra whole level of income, or moving out of poverty, or whatever that might look like, depending where you are in the world and what those jobs look like.
Matt, are you the creator of the software?
No, I'm not. We two wonderful founders back in 2005, two fellas, Derek Gould and Carl Shepard, started this, and this is associated with the Voisey's Bay nickel mine in Labrador.
Right.
And what I like to say is we're a 15-year-old startup, so we've kind of grown slowly since then, but really taken off in the last couple of years with a changeover of a team a little bit and a slightly different strategy, and the future seems bright.
Well, of course, right? I mean, it started 15 years ago, and I would argue that that would have been very, very novel 15 years ago to be looking at projects from this lens, but now it's demanded. that people look at the projects through these lenses. I have to tell you that I've never heard of another company providing this service, which I think is just fantastic. It must be exciting for you to be at a conference like this and see what's happening.
Yep. I mean, there are some out there that do bits and pieces here and there, but a lot of it is people just aren't aware that there is a solution that automates a ton of this work. And I mean, a lot of these, especially these remote projects, they have a tough time finding folks with the skills and capabilities that are required because it can be so sparsely populated at times. Having this all done in an automated way can really help with that. And then when it comes to being at a conference like this, I mean, it's nice because it brings in all of these different tech companies in Newfoundland. You see everyone doing things from stuff that happens on wind turbines on the land way up on the hill to things that happen thousands of meters underneath the water and everything in between, which is really neat.
How do people get a hold of you?
NetBenefitSoftware.com is probably the best way to do it, and we're happy to help.
That's fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure to be in conversation with you. And I can tell you this, that you're providing a product that's doing important work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.